I am super duper excited to be sharing this recipe with you today.
Awesome.
It's sort of a bit of an innovation on a Persian love cake.
Heaven.
Meets pumpkin spice latte. But this celebration cake has really become a favorite in my house, and a lot of my friends and family now request it. So the first thing that we're going to do, because we're gonna roast some pumpkins put in here. Would you mind helping me with that?
Too easy.
So into the pumpkin, we're going to put some nutmeg, some cinnamon, a little bit of olive oil and salt. We're gonna roast that until it's really collapsing. So I'm going to put some almond meal in. So whilst Khanh is spicing up that pumpkin, you could use last night's roast pumpkin if you have excess as well. So it's not absolutely essential that you roast it fresh for this recipe. So in our cake batter, we've got almond meal, demerara sugar, which is a little unusual for me to be using this much sugar. So this is a sometimes food cake. And then we've got some butter. So just like you would rub together flour, we're gonna do the same here. So we want it to be kind of almost a biscuity crumble.
Yeah. Is it really important that you're rubbing it together? You can't do that in a food processor?
You could do it in a food processor. It's gonna come out a little bit pasty, I guess. And in terms of the bottom being a bit more biscuit based, I think it's a nicer texture.
Okay.
Yeah. So once that's ready, I'm happy for you to put that on a roasting tray.
Yep.
Roasting it at about 180 until it's really collapsing.
Okay.
Because that's then going to be mashed and put through the rest of the cake batter.
Perfect. All right. So just on the roasting tray.
Beautiful.
This smells so yum.
Already.
I know.
And then we've got other flavors that we're adding. So we're going to add some rose water. We're going to add some pistachios. We're going to add some vanilla. So this really is all of those sort of things that you associate with Middle Eastern sweets.
Middle Eastern, yeah.
And I totally think that they match the idea of a love cake as well. So really...
Have you got rose petals though?
I've got rose petals for the top.
All right, so I'm gonna pop this into the oven for you.
Thank you so much. 180, probably about half an hour, but we'll see how we go. Might need a little bit longer, might need a little bit less.
All right, perfect.
So that pumpkin has had some cooling time. Thank you so much. All of those spices have really coated and caramelized the outside nicely.
Gorgeous.
Can you just pass me the cake tin?
Of course, of course.
So we've got our batter base in here. I'm gonna take about 1/3 of that. So this is where I was talking to you about 2 different textures in the cake batter. So only about 1 centimeter on the bottom.
That looks yum already.
Well, it's butter, sugar. And almond meal. So if you like candied almonds, and we're using a demerara sugar, which is a really quite a caramelizey type one. And because it's a high grain, this is gonna have quite a crunchy base for this cake. Oh, that's perfect. So you can see all of the fibers are really falling apart. So you're not gonna have any chunky pumpkin bits in this cake batter.
I feel so basic because I'm like frothing over a spiced pumpkin.
But isn't that the joy of food? It should bring you that much joy. It should be that much happiness. So we've just got our sort of biscuity base popped in there. So all of that pumpkin can go in. Perfect. That. So we've got some baking powder. We've got a vanilla bean. Just gonna soften and massage a little bit and make it easier for us.
That's for you.
Scrape out all of those delicious insides.
I love vanilla bean.
It's one of my favorites. And again, please don't chuck this out. Flavor some milk or some tea or some of your favorite spirits into the freezer.
Hot chocolate.
A hot chocolate. We've got some rose water. And crack 2 eggs for me.
Yep.
It's about the teamwork, isn't it? It's a love cake after
It's
all.
a love cake.
And then our last batter ingredient is some yogurt. I get really good consistent results with this yogurt. So it's my yogurt of choice. So it is, you can see that it's going to be quite a wet mixture, which is why it takes a little bit more cooking time than your average cake, but it's so worth it.
Ooh, yum.
So you can smell the vanilla,
coming
you
through,
can smell the rose.
And a little bit of the acidity from the yogurt.
And in terms of it combining with the baking powder, it gives it a little bit more lift. So because we're using dense other ingredients, this is not a light and fluffy cake. So we look at other ways to create rise.
I'm looking at it now and it kind of looks like the same texture as like a sticky neck pudding thing when it goes in.
Absolutely. So my other favorite thing about this cake is that we've got lots of different textures and colors. So we've got this quite orange rich
Yeah.
pumpkin batter. Then we're gonna put some green purpley pistachios and then some pink rose petals.
Pretty.
All right, all in there.
Oh, that smells so good.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be good when the batter already smells good before the heat
Yeah,
gets in.
yeah.
So as I said, quite loose and sloppy at this point, so it does need some good baking. So this doesn't really have any flour in it, so it is definitely a bowl that you could probably share with your kids.
You know what? Do you know what?
Are you tasting the love?
Oh my god, it's so yum.
All right, so I'm just going to tap that down gently.
I'm gonna eat this.
So I'm gonna sprinkle about half of our pistachios over. So we want some to get a nice toasty kind of bake on, and then we want some fresh to add to the top as well. So not heaps, we just want 2 textures, 2 colors, 2 flavors.
It looks so pretty.
We'll save these ones for the top. That's going into our oven for about 75 minutes. It is a long one. Be patient, it is so worth it. Can you smell the love, Khanh?
I can smell the rose water and a little bit of caramel.
So we've allowed our pumpkin Persian-love cake to cook 75 minutes. This is a long one, and then you need to give it half, if not that full amount of resting time to get a really lovely result. And so we've got our toasted pistachio nuts on top. We're gonna add a few more for a bit of a change up in color, flavor,
Gorgeous.
and texture.
Beautiful.
And then we've got some rose petals. You could make a syrup if you wanted to, but I really think that this cake is sweet enough without it. But this just adds a little bit extra. Extra prettiness.
Smells so nice.
So we're gonna cut a slice and serve it with some yogurt. So you can see that it's quite dense.
Yes.
So quite moist, quite dense, really gorgeous and golden on the inside.
So pretty.
And then we'll get a nice big, so if you're into serving cakes with icing or cream, or I really feel like the yogurt is a nice accompaniment because we've already used yogurt in the cake. So it is moist enough, but if you insist on dressing it a little bit more, we might even steal some of those rose petals. So you can see that you've got that nice sort of crusty bottom. So that biscuit base, it's a little bit extra crunchy, and then soft, dense, almost pudding-like pumpkin Persian-love cake.
Delicious.
I hope this one becomes a favorite in your house, just as it is in mine.